Hello everyone, it's Leo and it's time to talk about the first episode of Wonderful PreCure. Are you feeling wonderful? I know I am after this first episode that had a lot of energy and sense of humor. I was expecting Wonderful PreCure to be a little bit more chill, and while it was at times, I feel like they always tried to keep the energy up. If the energy wasn't up, the drama was up. And I like this, and I feel like Wonderful PreCure is bringing a very different aspect, a very fresh aspect to the PreCure franchise, so let's talk about it. Visually, this first episode was a treat. I loved the scenery, I loved the colors, the animation was very cool, very fluid, and we start the season knowing that we have a dog as a lead. The dog is the main character, and that is hard to do. I mean, we have shows in which animals are the main characters. Okay, that's fine. But when it comes to PreCure, a well-established franchise, it is always hard to change and break the mold. And now we have a non-human lead that does not talk. That is not easy to do. And while I do think Wonderful PreCure did a good job, I feel like they played a little safe. I will talk more about that later. But I feel like Komugi is a super adorable character. I was not expecting to like Komugi as much as I did after watching this episode. Oh my goodness, how much I love her already. So we have this first scene of Iroha waking up very early because Komugi woke her up, and they go for a little walk. They have this good time in Animal Town. And we get to know Animal Town. It's a very lively city full of animals. It is going to be a very special place, a very important place. We have to pay. If you are someone like me who likes to pay attention to details and theorize, I feel like this is going to be a good season for us in this aspect. I feel like this episode brought a little bit of plot already, and I like it. Not exactly plot, but, things for us to talk about and theorize. And then after that, we get to meet and understand a little bit of the morning routine from Iroha's family. And it was very cute. First thing I have to say, Iroha's dad. What the hell was that? What a handsome, hot man. Girl. Am I going to survive until the end of the season watching that hot man on my screen every week? Of course I will. That's what we live for, isn't it? But Iroha's mom is also super pretty. Oh my god. And we get to see a little bit of their morning routine and understand the family mannerisms. And by family, I'm also including Komugi as part of the family. So Iroha tries to leave for school. Komugi does not want her to leave. Komugi wants to stay with Iroha every single time. That is obviously not possible because Iroha has to leave. Iroha tells Komugi to sit. She sits down, but then she wants to stay with Iroha. She gets to Iroha's butt again. She bites her, and then they do that special touch that they have. It's a symbol of their friendship. And so Iroha leaves and Komugi stays behind. So we get to see that Komugi wants Iroha only. Komugi does not want to walk with Iroha's mom. She does not care about Iroha's mom at all. She just wants Iroha, And then we see a little bit of Komugi's dream of walking with Iroha, holding hands with Iroha, which is also something that PreCure is also known a lot for. Duos that hold hands. That's very powerful for PreCure. Friends that hold hands. That's very powerful for PreCure. And I feel like they're playing a lot with it here. And, Komugi wants to be with Iroha. And I feel like this is where they played it a little safe. But I do think it's a smart decision because Komugi is not a dog that sees herself as a dog. She sees herself as a human being. She thinks of herself as a human being so that she can be together with Iroha. She dreams of being a human so that they can be together. But I feel like this is a way of the show giving us a little bit more on Komugi because Komugi being the main character, it's hard for them to deal with a main character being a dog. How are we going to know their feelings? Well, if we compare their feelings to a human, that's easier. So I can understand that. And then we get a bunch of interesting scenes. First, we can see that something ominous is happening somewhere else. And we see a shattered stone, a shattered crystal, a shattered diamond. We don't exactly know what that is. We see some defeated animals in the ground, and we see one specific animal calling for Niko-sama, and also calling for the help of the something that they were not able to finish. All those animals turn into eggs, dark eggs with yellow details. They look kind of cool. Those eggs look kind of cool. And that's all we see for this part. And it's interesting that this is all that we see from the villain aspect of the show so far. I think it's a cool approach. Not the first time, but it's been a long time since we had something like this. Kira Kira PreCure was the last time. I think it was the first and last, if I'm not mistaken. And after that, we see Iroha arriving home and taking Komugi for a walk. And then we meet another character who is Satoru. And then we get to know a big stone in the middle of Animal Town that is called the Mirror Stone. If you walk to that stone, it's called a mirror stone, but you cannot see your reflection in it. If you see your reflection in it and you make a wish, your wish will come true. That is what is believed to happen because of that stone. And then we get to know more about Satoru and Iroha. They are friends, but they're not in the same class. Now Iroha wants to be in the same class as Satoru so that they can talk more. We can understand that Satoru is someone who studies a lot, and he is studying Animal Town. I feel like that was a very interesting scene because that stone is clearly important. We saw that a little later in the show, but that stone is very important for the story of Wonderful PreCure. And I wonder if that stone has something to do with the stone we saw in that scene from the supposed villain attack, because that was also a type of stone. It was a crystal, it was a diamond, we don't exactly know, but it was also a type of stone. So I wonder if that's the case. And then we can notice that Satoru blushes a little bit because of Iroha, and Iroha says she admires Satoru a lot because of the way he studies and the way he focuses a lot on, the things that he likes. He's very intelligent and he's very hardworking for that. And we also see the mirror reflecting, the stone reflecting Komugi, because Komugi is making a wish in her heart, which is to become closer to Iroha. And, for that to happen, she has to be a human. And I feel like Satoru is going to be important here because he will study the origins of the town. Where did that stone come from? I feel like that is also part of all the PreCure myth from Wonderful PreCure. I feel like that is going to give us something nice. And so we see a little bit of Iroha and Komugi, chilling. And we see that the town is full of people with animals. And I forgot one very important scene. When Iroha was taking Komugi for a walk, she sees a cat in a very big house. And she also sees a girl with that cat. Oh my goodness, we got to meet Mayu and Yuki, who are going to become Kiranyami and Kiralilian. I loved that scene. I was expecting Mayu to have a little bit more of this diva-ish personality. I don't know, but she is not. She is that type of girl who is very shy, and it's very hard for her to make friends. And at the same time, her cat is making fun of that aspect of hers. That was so lovely. I love that scene so much. And, Mayu like hiding, and when she saw Iroha, and she was very quick to hide because she could not handle interacting with someone. I just love it. That was not what I was expecting for her character. That makes me even more excited for both of them. I feel like Yuki is going to be someone who will tease Mayu a lot. I already love it. And we already know because of that a new Pretty Holic shop is opening, a store is opening in Animal Town, and Mayu will be part of Pretty Holic. It seems that it's run by her family. So I'm interested to see that as well. I hope she also has a hot father. And then we have some lovely scenes from Iroha and Komugi. And I dare say the soundtrack of this season, gorgeous. I loved the songs that we had in this first episode, very good. And then one of the eggs hatch in that forest and a garu-garu was born. And because of that garu-garu, Iroha had to go in and she had to diverge its attention to save a little kid with his dog. That scene was very representative of one aspect of Iroha, which is she is a sporty girl. She can run. Girl, she can run. And I loved the animation in that scene. You can really see that they were really trying their hardest in terms of animation in this episode. Very, very good. Because of that, Komugi was very scared. And there was also that piece of stone that they found a little before. And that stone was with Iroha, and Komugi went in to save her. But that stone resonated with Komugi's wish to save Iroha and turned her into something else. And that something else got the newly turned pact, the stone that turned into a pact, and transformed into a PreCure. One thing, the transformation is very short. I really like it. I love when the transformations don't last that long. I'm very thankful that it's like this. I am very, very thankful. And when she is born as Cure Wonderful, I love it. And I also like that the transformation had like very vivid colors, and the action scene did not have the colors as bright as the transformation. That change was also nice. And then we see her being born as Cure Wonderful. Iroha is super confused, and we start seeing lots of scenes, lots of action scenes. First of all, this is probably the biggest change I feel like that we have in PreCure, because Cure Wonderful does not fight. The one thing she does is to create a shield to protect her and Iroha, and I love that shield. Like visually, that shield looked gorgeous. I loved it. It looked so pink and so fluffy. Oh my goodness, the visuals were so on point. And then after that, all that we see is Cure Wonderful running around, jumping around, escaping from the garu-garu, and then running after the garu-garu. And another thing that I feel wonderful about this is Cure Wonderful's personality. She is so alive, and she was having so much fun. The dialogues, the phrases that she told the garu-garu, everything was super on point. I think it was incredible. I loved it. But then the garu-garu started running away, and for her, she was playing with it. She was just playing with it. And for her, it was something fun. But then she started noticing that the garu-garu was feeling pain and he was scared. And so she hugged him. And one of the things that I loved about that scene was how she was calling the garu-garu and showing him a side of life that was very Komugi. You know, if you aren't scared anymore, if you want to play with me, you will have so much fun. You will have so many wonderful things in your life. And I like that because that is what Komugi's been doing, how she's been enjoying life with Iroha. And I just really, really loved it. And, you know, the way she hugged the garu-garu and, you know, the pink energy started dissipating the dark energy from the garu-garu, and a sheep was born. So the action scene was very cool. Animation-wise, it was gorgeous. But I'm not going to lie, I'm going to miss a little bit of more of a physical action. But I do think that we are getting it this season. I just think that it's going to be when the villains start appearing, because we don't have generals yet. We will have generals though. I'm pretty sure we will. But let me leave that for a little later. I feel like this fact of Komugi not fighting, or Cure Wonderful not fighting and just escaping, it makes a lot of sense, especially coming from her, who is an animal. She is dealing with another animal. So it makes a lot of sense. It also makes a lot of sense if you think outside of the show, not hurting animals, and that's a message that they want to showcase. But I also have to say, I think action scenes and battle scenes are part of PreCure. They were part of what made PreCure so iconic, and it's been carried through season after season. And even though you can look at me and say, well, Kira Kira didn't have it, Kira Kira did have battles. It just did not have punches and kicks like other seasons, even though we had Kira Gelato, who used lots of punches in Kira Kira. Kira Kira had battle scenes. They were battle scenes with a different twist. And now Wonderful PreCure is not bringing battle scenes, at least not this time. It's bringing an action scene, which is a little different. And it did not give us a stock footage either. We're getting a stock footage when we get the weapon, probably next month, maybe in episode 5, like Hirogaru Sky, I don't know. But we did not have a stock footage for Cure Wonderful. And I do miss it. I'm not going to lie. But I feel like the scene felt so alive. The scene felt so powerful. That scene felt so fun. Because Cure Wonderful is wonderful. So I loved it. And we finished the episode with a very funny scene of Iroha noticing that Cure Wonderful is Komugi. And not Cure Wonderful. I mean, yeah, she noticed that Cure Wonderful is Komugi. But in that scene, we see Komugi herself in her human form. Because of their touch. That's something that we saw earlier in the episode being referenced again. I feel like the character construction this episode was very good, both for Iroha and for Komugi. I really like them. I feel like Iroha has a lot of attitude. I think she is a good character in this aspect. And I feel like Komugi has a lot of energy. And I love how intense Komugi is. Like when she's dreaming and she's thinking of Iroha and staying with her, everything is so over dramatic. She is suffering so much because she's away from Iroha. I like those details. And when she is together with Iroha, she is this ball of energy, of intensity. So I really like that. And what I was going to say about the villains and the generals. In that scene, when we see the corrupted animals, we see 4 animals, not counting the sheep that we saw today, the goat, the sheep, I don't know. We saw 4, and with it, we have 5. So we might have 5 eggs. We might have more eggs, I don't know. We might have 5. If we do have 5, I believe that we're not going to have a general until we finish the eggs. So they might defeat and hug the 5 eggs, without having a proper attack. And then after we have the generals, they might get the weapon, and we might start seeing them engage in battles in different ways. Because I feel like it's not going to only be running and hugging. I don't know. I might be wrong, because in the opening, it's only hugging, running and hugging. So, but I feel like they can be creative with it as well. They can create techniques. They can use different powers. They can do it in different ways. I wonder what they're going to do. All I know is that I'm curious, and I loved the first episode of Wonderful PreCure. I had a lot of fun. I laughed so much. I just lived with it. Amazing. Anyways, babies, what is your opinion on the first episode of Wonderful PreCure? Please share your opinion in the comment box. Let's keep talking about it. Anyways, babes, this is it for now. I want to take this little time to thank the members of the Magical Cinnamon channel. If you're a member, thank you very, very much for your support. Thank you for standing by Magical Cinnamon. And if you've watched up until now, thank you so much as well. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye-bye.